I was beating the pavement. And every day when I left, there was a little phrase that was in my brain, and it was failure is not an option.
Wow.
I grew up in a little small town called Dickinson, Texas. I'm pretty much a country boy in the sense of we had us a little ranch. And so Dad, hardest working man that I've ever met in my entire life. And I think that's one of the reasons I work so hard is he set the right tone. But kind of growing up, grew up throwing bales of hay, building barns, building fence, just a lot of blue collar work. And the sense of no one in my family ever went to college. I could remember back in high school, my mom told me I was a sophomore in high school at the time. And she said, Jake, if you want to go to college, you're going to need to get a scholarship, because we were middle class, maybe slightly below middle class back then. I had a lot of self-doubt, to be honest with you. And then I became an operator, did that for 7 years, went back to school, got a bachelor's, 2 masters, and then later on got a doctorate. So I really want everyone to deduct from this conversation and a little bit of inspiration, and knowing that no matter where you're at in life,
that's right.
To believe in yourself, surround yourself by the right people who's going to foster the right relationship, and just go for it. And once you can get past that mental block, you can do anything. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to leave making 6 figures. And I remember taking my first accounting job in downtown Houston at one of the largest accounting firms. And my first job was making, with 5 degrees, I went from $116,000 to $44,000. And I remember I said, okay, here's what's going to be, because I had a 6-month evaluation, right? And I remember saying, okay, I'm going to give this all I can for 3 months, another 3 months. And I would get there at 5:36 in the morning. If there was a budget of 2 hours or 3 hours for that client, I promise you I was spending 12 to 15 hours on that client. I started to get into my groove. And then I just rose real fast, with that organization. And then I went to another accounting firm after that, and I just continued to thrive. You just got to put in the work. And I promise you, work ethic will exceed talent every single time. Not just outwork your butt, dude. And I'll share with you guys some numbers. And it's not to be braggadocious. It's to just put things in perspective that I probably had $45,000 to $60,000 worth of side business when I left. Okay, when I started the business. But I always adopted that mindset that failure was not an option. Choose your network wisely. You are the 5 people you hang out with the most. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.